Well, on now to BC. An investigation into a hit and run that took place more than 3 months ago in Mission, British Columbia has been sent off to the prosecution office. The incident happened during a march for residential school survivors. Despite video evidence and the 77-year-old driver turning himself in, no charges have been laid. Separately, Mission RCMP are now apologizing for a tweet from their Twitter account earlier this week that raised eyebrows of Indigenous folks there. Dennis Ward spoke with journalist Robert Jago, who was covering the march when the hit and run happened and has been watching the fallout over this controversial tweet.
Robert, thanks so much for being with us. More than 3 months after this incident took place, Mission RCMP have now announced that they've forwarded their evidence to the BC Prosecution Service to determine whether there will be any charges. How do you feel about this latest update?
I'm glad that something is finally moving, and I'm glad that it's out of the RCMP's hands. I have almost no faith in them, in the Mission RCMP in particular. I have slightly more faith in the prosecution service, and I hope that they can see through whatever the RCMP prepared for them, because I am a little worried about what they sent them, that they're going to underplay it, they're going to try and shift blame. So I'm glad it's there, and I'm glad it's out of the RCMP's hands.
Since day one, there's kind of been issues with that initial press release even about this incident. Now this new press release doesn't make any mention of a hit and run. And the title of the press release is RCMP Forward Evidence Package in Residential School March Investigation, which could lead one to wonder if the march itself is under investigation. What do you make of that? That
is my concern. I know, we've been pushing quite hard on social media to try and get the story out there, to force them to investigate, to force them to collect evidence. And the blowback we've heard sounds a lot like the RCMP. And a lot of that blowback was trying to shift blame onto us, to say that we caused it. What I saw there was a hit and run. I didn't see an altercation. And I talked to everybody involved. No one knows about an altercation. And that this is the word they used in the press release. They said they're investigating the altercation, as if a person was in a fight with a truck. That makes no sense, and it's extremely worrying to me. Like what they sent to the BC Prosecution Service, they're gonna, I don't know, try and charge us for punching a truck with our backs or something. It's bizarre.
The day the Mission RCMP provided this update, there was also a series of tweets from the Mission RCMP Twitter account, including one that they've now apologized for, where they seem to make an excuse for not being able to find a missing Indigenous man who was found deceased a year later, not far from the detachment. When I asked them about this, they apologized and said the tweet, quote, is not in line with the core values and expectations of the Mission RCMP. What do you make of what was going on that day? I know you were paying attention to these tweets and responses.
Yeah, so before they issued the press release talking about submitting their materials to Crown Counsel, they sent it to me in a snarky, rude tweet. Saying that we should be grateful that they even sent it in, and they sent it in so quickly. We should be happy about that. The best just an explanation I've heard about it from someone was that they felt like someone at the RCMP mistook the RCMP account for the personal account, because the stuff coming out of there sounded like a personal troll account. That was, and I'm surprised that it was coming out of the RCMP. And this isn't the first time. From that detachment, we've seen them, backpedal and be forced to apologize for their public communication. They have a problem there. Like if you in a single investigation, we see them being forced to apologize again and again and again and again for public communication, for being rude and borderline racist. Then there's a definite problem in the leadership, at least in that detachment.
Well, Robert, this story's not played itself out yet. I'm sure we'll be talking about it again. Appreciate you taking some time for us today.
Thank you, and thanks for keeping on the story.